What is going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. And in today's video, I want to talk about the important data that no one is telling you. I want to tell you about the most undervalued ecosystem in the entirety of crypto. And of course, we want to talk about the latest of the market. So if that sounds interesting to you, give us a like, push that little button, and let's get on with it. Because this data that I'm about to share with you, no one else is talking about. Everyone else is just telling you, oh, the market is up, the market is down, left and right. We need to make a rational market decisions moving forward. You can clearly see the market is in a mixed zone here. Majority of the cryptos are down. You got the, the likes of PLS or PulseX here, Quant up 5%, SPX up 8%. And of course, anyone who's been trading leverage for the last few weeks, especially on Altcoin, be super careful because right now it's heavily manipulated. It will get you stomped out. And of course, guys, with every single one of these videos, I'm going to give you my honest opinion on one of the most undervalued, maybe two, but one of the most undervalued ecosystems in the entirety of crypto. And that is the Sui ecosystem. Now, of course, you guys would have known what's happened with Sui. Sui was far too hot for the market. It came out, absolutely did nothing in the first year. In 2023, it did nothing. Modest gains, right? And then, of course, it really exploded last year and never looked back. Now, what I'm seeing right now is the Sui ecosystem largely is either flat or down. Now, knowing the technology that they have, of course, I personally believe Sui's mega bull run will come in kind of the next bull market. But this is a very much still alive, still undervalued ecosystem that is bound to go absolutely bonkers. And of course, I can see tokens here with relatively healthy trading volume like Walrus. DeepBook has tragically, I mean, this is, again, 14 cents. What we have here is the 18%. It's basically a recovery from what's happened to CETUS hack. So I think, look, DeepBook will recover. And I do believe right now it is one of the bigger market caps, but the trading volume is still very healthy. Then you come all the way down here. Look, CETUS protocol right now has absolutely been slapped along with DeepBook and Walrus. All of the projects that lost a bit of the value, liquidity pools have been heavily impacted. So CETUS still 13 cents. I do believe CETUS will come back, but the market cap just under 100 million just shows you investors are actually parking their money elsewhere. But this is still very good, in my opinion, and I think this will be the major DEX for both Sui and Aptos. It is the major DEX for both Sui and Aptos, and it will come back. Then I will skip this meme coin. I mean, this is tragically unbelievable. The volume is low. The market cap is 84 million, and it's always the #1 meme coin by market cap, Mew. But I don't know. I'd skip that stuff. Lofi is the real bad boy. Lofi came all the way back to $30 million, $35 million. Right now, it's at $44 million. And I have seen some money flow into Bluefin because Bluefin now do spot as well. So Bluefin is an excellent pickup. And if anything happens in the market further, this under 10 cents will be a very good buy, in my opinion. And then you've got the likes of Navi. Navi's still at the $38 million market cap, I believe. Sorry, $29 million market cap with a $38 million volume. This is crazy. It's undervalued. And I think money has poured away from SuiLend into Navi because these two are the biggest protocols by TVL in terms of lending within the Sui ecosystem. And then, of course, what else is happening? Let's see where Blubs are. Sub 10 million. Scallop's a very good protocol. 7 days, 11%, 5 million volume, $13 million market cap. The Scallop is a decent project. Of course, anything that you haven't seen in the periphery that's come up, that's doing well, like, for example, Double Up. The volume here is decent. The volume is very low. The market cap is 6 million. And then, of course, you've got turbos. I would have thought on the onset of the hack, turbos would do well. And then you've got FlowX Finance, which I posted around $1 million. That's actually holding up very well. Very, very well compared to how it would have been otherwise. And then, you know, Sui Agent, is there really something? I mean, the rest is all, you know, neither here or there. Something comes up, like, for example, Uni here is doing okay, 10,000 volume, 700K market cap. But really, the ones I'm actually kind of looking at is the replacement, or seeing where the money flow is, where the money flow goes from the other protocols in terms of a DEX anyway. But otherwise, I think the biggest beneficiary this week has been Navi Protocol and Bluefin for sure. Of course, low fee under, you know, $45 million. It's always good. But you can see here where the green is where the real interest is, because money has actually flown out of the Sui protocol. So look for money flow into other projects, and look up volume as well. Volume does indicate the level of interest or level of market making, which is always good. Now, let's get on with this. I've got a crazy interview here. And this interview is absolutely insane. And I'm going to play a little bit of this. Let's get on with this.
To get into, I don't know, everything you read, Don Jr., on conflict of interest for the Trump family with your father in the White House. I mean, here's today's headline. Bitcoin goes all in on MAGA. It's no longer libertarian. It's no longer decentralized. It's no longer cool. Suddenly, it's almost got the rubber stamp of the administration. And lead into some of the other things. The meme coin. Is that okay for your dad to have a meme coin?
I think, of course, when he did that before he was in office, he did these things. The reason we got into crypto, and we're all in on crypto, and we're doing American Bitcoin, and we have World Liberty Finance and USD1, was because there was a time, and probably I'd been on this show, where I could call any single banker in New York City. They'd pick up the phone. I'd be able to get a loan for whatever real estate project I was doing across the street. Then we got into politics, and all of a sudden, they wouldn't take your call. You couldn't get financing. We were debanked. And what I realized, and my brother realized, because we were the recipients of every subpoena imaginable, was that, you know what, we were actually just the top of this sort of pyramid scheme that we didn't realize we were a part of, that the financial system was totally undemocratized. Because we had a certain balance sheet and whatever, we could kind of do whatever we wanted. The regular guy was messed up. Now we were all of a sudden in the shoes of the regular guy that wouldn't be able to take advantage of the markets. And we said, what's the solution for that? The answer is crypto. These decentralized platforms where you're not beholden to this, where you create efficiencies. As a guy that did real estate, why am I paying coins in and out for title insurance that could be done on the blockchain? So we got into crypto not because it was like, hey, this is the next cool thing. We got into it out of necessity. We got into it because we understood just how quickly we could be turned off, even as an incredible developer from New York City. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that we didn't change the skyline of New York City, but that disappeared in an instant. I mean, we're getting sued by New York State AG, $500 million fees for paying back loans on time with interest. These aren't, fair markets. There's nothing egalitarian about any of that. So we actually, as innovators, as people who understand these things, we went all in on a concept that makes total sense because we'd actually been the recipient of how quickly that can be shut off. And so it actually makes total sense. The Trump organization isn't doing anything with foreign countries. The first time around in the administration, we actually stopped doing all foreign deals. And unlike the Bidens, we were actually doing international business before we got into politics.
My question, though.
But let me finish. We stopped doing those things, and the market still said, oh, they're profiteering off of this, they're doing that. We got zero credit. We shut down hundreds of millions of dollars of business to voluntarily just say, just in case. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to play by all of the rules. We're going to do what we're allowed to do. But we got zero credit for going so far above and beyond because, that's the nature of this beast, right? It's a market cycle. I get it. It's click-worthy. It's nonsense.
So let me ask you a question about the meme coin, okay? You may not believe this. I want your father and this White House to have all the credibility in the world. And invariably, people are always going to question whatever any president does. But one of the things that people do demonstrably question is they say this meme coin that your father has creates the opportunity for foreign adversaries, people in the U.S., anybody, if they want, to effectively funnel money.
It's as bad as Hunter's art. It's as bad as Hunter's art or the Clinton Foundation with her getting back into the White House. It just seems like a way that greases the skids for influence.
So I think the meme coin, you don't know who's actually doing any of these things, right? So
that's one of the things that has people on
but
edge.
then it's different because it's hard to influence if you don't actually know where the stuff's coming from, right? So I wasn't involved in the meme coin. I'm more focused on, obviously, the stable coin, the Bitcoin mining, some of those things. But, the reality is I think a lot of these things in the meme coin...
You're not taking responsibility for the meme.
I'm just saying the reality of the meme coin is it's sort of a proof of concept that the crypto world understands exactly what I was talking about earlier, that the markets may not necessarily be fair. The traditional banking system may not be fair to them. So it's a proof of concept of what I think we can move the needle in crypto. And I think that's going to be the future of finance. It's going to be the future of banking, almost without question, if we can accelerate that process by going all in on it.
But you've heard from people in the crypto industry, I imagine some of your friends who have said that some of these coins and what's happening may undermine a little bit of what's happening because people are questioning it, right?
I have not heard that from anyone, actually. What I hear from those people is like, thank you for doing this. You're giving us the legitimacy that we fought for so long. And this isn't just a conservative issue, Joe. I mean, these are highly libertarian people. This is actually one of those 50 million holders of some sort of crypto, whether it's Bitcoin, stables, ETH, Sol, whatever it may be. There's 50 million in America, and they're not all right-wing. These are people who just believe in freedom. They've seen what's happening, and they're looking for a corollary and a response.
I got one more for you, which goes to, do you believe, if you believe in the U.S. dollar, which I think we all want to believe in, do we think that crypto, Bitcoin in particular, but crypto writ large, can ultimately undermine it?
Actually, I think the opposite. When you look at what's going on with so many of the stable coins, and as you create utility and those things happen, what we're doing with USD1, it's literally one-to-one backed with the U.S. Treasuries. If you look at some of these big, stable coins, they're literally some of the biggest buyers of U.S. Treasuries in the world, replacing a lot of the countries that would have been traditionally doing that. So if we want to keep borrowing and spending the way we do for some of these projects, I don't necessarily agree with all of that either. I think these stable coins are actually going to be the savior of dollar hegemony in the world, not a detractor from it. I think that goes without question. If you look at even companies like Tether, I think they're the fourth largest holder of U.S. Treasuries in the world. What we're going to do with USD1, I mean, this is billions and billions of dollars of treasuries that other countries who have not necessarily been good actors or who have taken advantage of those things over the years have said they're going to back away from to try to create their own kind of currency, to eliminate sort of, the petrodollar, whatever it may be. I think stablecoins could be the savior of U.S. currency.
Absolutely fascinating. I thought I'd play that whole thing for you. And again, the whole idea that these people can't be questioned is not true. But I thought he held his own over there. It was obviously obvious. He calls it a proof of concept. But listen, we're talking about the crypto-friendly administration. And ultimately, if they are that deep into it, you can't be a fool. You have to get out of these markets very, very early because, again, these people will, for good, for better or worse, they will absolutely control the direction of the market. I would like to think that these guys are largely going to pump this because they are balls deep into crypto. You heard what he said there. And, of course, that is never going to change. So I thought that was fascinating. I thought he did well to explain the features of stablecoins, U.S. Treasury holdings via USDT or Tether. That was all fantastic. But overall, I think once they send the markets and we get into the euphoric stage, you have to think that these people will definitely come and rotate into altcoins. And once they do, we'll have an alt season. And of course, Bitcoin has already lost a bit of its dominance. Of course, I've been monitoring this. And this looks very, very nice. Nice. We need more. And the news here is that Bitcoin dominance has fallen off the back of BlackRock switching. But that's not the only news. We've had ever since Sunday this massive Bitcoin dominance drop, and long may that continue and actually fall catastrophically to these lows, because I'm sick and tired of Bitcoin dominance, to be honest with you. It's if anyone hasn't been, if this is your first cycle, then call us mad, but this is what you're missing, right? This is exactly what you're missing, because you are a first cycle investor who's never had a significant Bitcoin dominance in years. but all of us once in the space always talk about this Bitcoin dominance, catastrophic fall, which was the best thing since sliced bread. You've got another massive fall here. 2017, 2018, you've got 2020, 2021. And then look at that. Look how dominant Bitcoin has been over the last 3.5 years. Unbelievable. So what's happening now is on the shorter time frame. Again, the weekly Bitcoin dominance has never really had that collapse. Look, oversold for eternity, really. Overbought, rather. But if you look at Bitcoin dominance now in the lower time frames, on the 4-hourly, on the daily, it's not so obvious because it's just 2 days now. But on the hourly, it's even more pronounced. So, yeah, we've had a significant weakening of the Bitcoin dominance, and largely because BlackRock have decided to actually, this came out 11 hours ago.
BlackRock has done the unthinkable, and that is selling Bitcoin and swapping it in for ETH. Maybe some of you guys are asking that very question today. Well, we'll break it down for you. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, and that is
So basically, I want to thank my sponsors as well. Tangent, link in the description. You can get 10% off. I also want to big up Nansen.ai, my go-to intelligence tool for everything crypto that I do. So go grab it, Tangent. This actually is going to support me. And of course, go and grab the, you can get the Nansen profiler, the Nansen smart wallet trackers. Nansen is the place to be. You can track your wallet there. You can scan holders. You can do everything on Nansen. So go check it out. At the moment, I'm looking at a few smart wallets and what they're buying, and of course their P&L. And based on that, I'll be able to make a good post for the community for what's hot and what to potentially avoid. Now, lastly, before we go, so I've given you the SUI ecosystem, Donald Trump Jr. At this point, if you're enjoying the video, subscribe, like the channel. Yesterday, I posted this data, the jobs opening rate, and of course, the JOLTS report came out. And of course, no one's talking about it, so I'll talk about it. Crazy macro week, actually, because we've got more labor data coming out, but the JOLTS actual was 7.391, expected 7.1, previous 7.192. So it actually beat expectations, but it's largely flat. But it has actually given the markets more reasons to be manipulated. And takeaway, job openings beat expectations, hires rose, quits tick down, of course, less people quit, layoffs still low relatively, and openings in food services and education fell. Arts and recreation, of course, saw small gains. JOLTS is the job market. JOLTS shows the job markets. Job markets have stalled, but not declining. But nevertheless, it's not recovering either. So it's kind of an imbalance. But overall, it's largely still positive reading, which is not good for us. We want the job market to go completely bonkers to the downside, unemployment to go high for the Fed to step in. So my take was we're in a post-COVID anomaly zone of the beverage curve, job opening versus employment. Of course, this is where we are. And this is the absolute kind of like the market that just is crazy. Like things are just not the way we want. Job opening versus unemployment. The slowdown in labor cooling shows a weird kind of a sticky strength. It's not weak and it's not super strong, right? And so it's the Fed now needs to see May's data. Previously, how the April data were, previously they wanted to understand how April impacted with the tariffs. Next labor report will be potential Fed policy, or at least some kind. If the data shows up and the data is weaker, then we could look for that. Macro clues. So, of course, factory orders are in contractions. PMI is in contraction. Labor holding firm, but productivity and output clearly slipping. Fed's reaction has already been slow. They've admitted as much. Expect Powell to say the labor market remains strong. This is a good economy, blah, 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 all of that nonsense, of course. And then there was a Trump launch, and my team my community rightly pointed out that this is fake news. Although right now I'm seeing the guys talk about a OpenSea NFT announcement. And then we've got the what else do we have? Trump again, China and Trump. There were some harsh words that came out yesterday. And California's lawsuit against Trump's tariffs was thrown out, a legal win for Trump. That was yesterday. And of course, there was my final market analysis. I think you should be getting this economic data in real time. I think you should be seeing what I post in our Discord. It's just $9 a month. And of course, we are always consistently talking in the Discord. So guys, there you have it. Pretty comprehensive, very solid update there for you. And as always, the market may not give you what you want right now, but just hang in there. You have been there for 3 years plus. Some of you have been there here for way longer. And I do believe we will be rewarded. But I'm kind of leaning towards a Fed pivot sometime in the summer, and really a real bull market to genuinely start towards the end of the year, early into Q1 potentially. But if we do get a pump and Bitcoin dominance continues to slide, I will be taking some profit off the table, no doubt, because there is no way I'm going to remain in these markets with these dynamics. Everything we're seeing right now, crypto is different now. Big money is involved, and big money is playing the game, guys. All right. God bless you all. I'll see you on the next video. Smash a like, follow the channel, and of course, if you find our content valuable, please share it with other people.